Hello and welcome to my Elite Dangerous Beginners tutorial. This one's for beginners, how to make a fast start, reflecting the latest changes in the game since beginning of December 2020. That's just in case you view this sometime in the future. I'm going to assume that you've done the basic setup of your ship, done your key bindings. Now I'm going to show you a few things along the way, um, how I do things, and you can copy that if you want. Um, so I'll teach you a few tricks that you don't normally see in any of the other tutorials. Right. So first you do the how to fly the ship tutorials, the basic combat, the flying from station to station, and how I'm not going to take you through all that. I'm going to assume you've done that and you know how to take off and land and all that sort of stuff. But I will give you a few hints and tips along the way. Um, so you've done your new commander, put in a commander name, your commander name, and the ship name and the ship's ID, and then there's two ships to choose at the beginning, an all-purpose sidewinder and a planetary one or something like that. I don't think it makes any difference. I've chosen the all-purpose one. We're going to strip it basically anyway. So right, I'm going to just give you an idea of the overall plan first of all. What we're going to do, we're going to fly to a system called Chambo, scan it to get some money. And we're going to do this while we're doing the first starter mission that they've told you about. Basically, they've given you some data to take to Dromi. So rather than go direct to Dromi, we're just going to take a little bit of a detour. It takes about 10 minutes or so extra, but that'll give you 50 odd thousand, which is enough to improve your ship a bit when we get to Dromi. Because once we get to Dromi, we're going to do a little bit of combat. Now, don't worry if you sucked at the combat tutorials. What we're going to do is nothing like that. It's going to be very safe. Just sit there and help the police shoot a few ships to get enough money to get a T6 ship, which is a transporter ship, and we're going to outfit it for passengers, and then we're going to go right off down south to Robico, and we're going to do a load of passenger missions there. And when you arrive, you can get about 6 million a trip, 5 trips an hour, so that's 30 million an hour. And then after a couple of hours, you can get 11 million a trip, which is 55 million an hour, just in the T6. And you can do that for a bit, like for an evening or something, and that'll get you enough money to buy just about any ship you want. So that's as far as I'm going to take you. And what I'm going to do is show you a few tips and tricks along the way. So, without further ado, we want to go to outfitting to change our ship. So, starport services takes a little bit while. Now, this might seem a bit. So, here's outfitting on this side. Oh, that's quick. So, we're going to get rid of all the stuff we don't need, and what that does. So, just click on them, sell. What that does, it makes the ship lighter so we can jump further. Without doing this, you can't reach Chambo, not easily anyway. So don't worry about this. This is all free stuff. We're going to have enough money to buy it all back, plus a lot more, just for doing what I'm doing. So this increases the ship. If you look down the bottom here, you'll see the jump range gradually increasing. The way it was in the beginning, I don't know what that was, about 7 point something. Useless. You can't get hardly anywhere. There's nothing in the utility mounts. Core internal, we don't want to change option. So we're going to get rid of the shields. You don't need shields unless you're shooting somebody. We're not shooting anybody just yet. So we can sell those. We don't get any money for them because they're only lent to us anyway. And I'm going to get rid of this. It's up to you whether you do that or not. I don't know whether you've done that in the tutorials. I've never used it in the game, and I don't think you need to use it. So that's going again. It doesn't really save anything, but I just want it. I don't want it taking over when I'm trying to do things my way. Right, you can leave that in there. We're not going to any planets just yet, but doesn't do any harm. Doesn't weigh anything. So that's us ready to go. But before we do anything, we've got to set up, make sure we know how to use our scanners. So the first thing on this side, if to tab, you need to set up your bindings. If you there should be some defaults, but you need to learn what they are for how to work these panels. So there's just one on this side under fire groups. We're not going to use a data link scanner or a composition one, but so you just use your cursor or whatever it is to move these things around. So it's the discovery scanner. I'm just going to put it on trigger 1. So when I pull my main trigger, that's going to go off. Right. So now the other thing we need to do is just check your key bindings for how the scanner works. So you find that in options. You've probably done all this. Controls. And then right down the bottom, full spectrum scanner. That's the one. And I use a mouse for that. So, assuming you're using a PC, that's how I would do it. So this is how you set it up for the mouse. So tuning right and left, I've got on the scroll wheel. So you just click that, move the scroll forward, click that, move it backwards, and that sets those two. The tuning sensitive you'll have to play with. It's different for each mouse and how you got your windows set up. That's how I've got it here. And I don't set the forget that. So here, leave the FSS. You need a button for that. I've used the button on the scroll wheel. So when I press the scroll wheel down, it leaves the scanner mode. So you need something in here. I think that's the default on the keyboard, that tick thing there. Now, these are the things that move around the screen. So I've got that on yaw and pitch inverted on my mouse. So what that does, it works which way the mouse goes. Right, that one's right and left for the mouse. That one's up and down with the mouse. But if your mouse goes the wrong way, you need to change that to inverted. Things you've got off, pitch inverted, and I think that have yaw inverted as well. I'm not too sure, but that's how I've got it. And again, you need this is the sensitivity to move the mouse pointer around the screen. This is the one. There's a tuning scale which I'll show you later along the bottom of the screen like this, and you need to move a bar up and down it. So I do that one down the bottom with a scroll wheel and moving the mouse around with these ones. It's as simple as that. Don't think we need to target anything. So, but we haven't yet. There's no button. The key binding layout, and this is terrible. This is how to work it and how to leave it, but you've got to figure out how to get into it. And how to get into it is somewhere else. I think it's up in mode switches somewhere. Mode switches in there. We want to enter FSS mode. There it is, right down there. So again, I've used to press the scroll wheel down. You can use any key you want. It's not used for something else, so as long as you know what it is. So, but you want the same one for enter and leave. So you arrive at the star, you press the button, go into FS mode, scan the stars, press it again, whatever it was, and you're on your way again. That's how I work it. You don't need different buttons for it. So we work the main scanner with a trigger, and this is the details behind it where we actually find the stars. I'll show you how that works when we get there. So I need to apply that. I don't think I changed anything. Hope I didn't. So now we can resume. So that's it. We're ready to go. Now what we do is we got to open the galaxy map and tell it to find a way to Jambo. So just type it in. Whoops. Big fingers. Jambo. And there it is. And you'll notice it's outside the noob zone. So just click that one there with the 3 balls. And these ones here are all the noob zone. And in theory, if you leave the noob zone, you can't go back again. But I don't know whether this is some anomaly because we've still got the starter mission. Maybe that's a get out bug or whatever. I don't know. But we can do this. So we go to there, we refuel, and then we go back to Dromi, which is down there, instead of just jumping straight across. So it takes about 10 minutes or so. So we're ready to go now. We've got our route planned. Exit. So off we go. You can press auto launch and then wait till it drops the ship outside the station. But the auto launch which is the advanced docking computer. It takes ages. Mysteriously, whenever I use it, there's always a queue of ships in front of me, and it always lets you out last. Look, here we go. There's one other commander there. And let's have a look, see what it does. It parks you down here somewhere out the way, and then takes ages. So what I always do, I just take over control and fly straight out there. But the first chance I get, I'm going to get rid of this advanced computer and just use the standard docking computer, which gives you much more control. Looks like it's letting us out now. So put 4 pips to engines. No, it won't let us at the moment because it's under this weird control. So what I'm going to do now is go full throttle to get rid of that. Now I can put 4 pips to engines and boost. So you can just point at I and D or point away from the station. The idea is to get away from the station as quick as possible. So if you look at the right, you'll see those 3 columns. One of them's rising up. That's the engines one. When that gets to near the top, the next one, you can boost again. Now on the right, where it says mass lock, the little blue light there has gone out, so you can engage your frame shift drive. So when you leave the station, just make sure you don't bump into any other ships, because we've got no shields. It knocks you down a little bit. Yeah, you'll survive it as long as you don't like boost into anything. It's quite safe not having any shields, as long as you don't bump into anything. In space, there isn't a lot to bump into. It's just the stations. So what you want to do here now is turn away from the star at 90 degrees. Now I'm watching the FSD cooldown in the bottom right corner in blue. It's just gone out. Now we can engage the frame shift drive again. And while I'm waiting, I'm just going to fire off my discovery scanner. There you are, and it found its 5 bodies. What it does give you just a little bit of money, but also it registers the planets that's in the system, and that's always useful for later. And I think it gives you other useful information, like when you're looking for systems with certain things in, using the filters and that. So it's always worth every system. So same again, just turn away from the star. You don't have to go 90 degrees, but as far away as you can in a general direction, and then as soon as the blue frame shift cooling's gone out, oops, and then just going to fire off my scanner again. You can fire the scanner straight away, whatever you want. So 7 in that one, and you do get a little bit of money as well for all these things. But unfortunately, they're not far enough away from Dromi to get the money. You've got to be 20 light years away from a system to get any money for them. But Chambo is. And this is like the nearest high-value system to Dromi that has that you can sell the data at Dromi. Right, so here we are here. So what we do now, you see this line, that's the orbit lines for all the planets that's rotating around the star. So just what you want is that about a quarter way across your screen is the ideal position to be. And I'm watching the star on the radar shrinking. See, it's just moving to the back. Once it's moved to the back and sort of shrunk down to about that size, you go 0 throttle. And now I'm going to press that button on my mouse, and we're in FSS mode. So I'm firing off the can I do it now? I might need a separate button here for it. No, sorry, I've messed up. So before doing that, fire off the discovery scanner. There is a separate button that you can assign to do it when you're in this mode. It's really daft why they do that. I don't know. Why you need like 2 buttons for it, or we can't just use the same one. Right, so let's have a look at what we've got now. Down the bottom of the thing where it says filtered spectral now using my scroll wheel, I can scroll up and down that. Right, I'm just going to look around the sky. You see I can move with my mouse around, and you'll see weird things happening. Now what we're looking for is these bluish blobs with a dot in. Not so much the ones with a line around them. They're signal sources, they are. Now looking at the scale, the ones down the bottom here are these ones with dots on. and you can have a look at that. It tells you it's a convoy dispersal pattern. That's useful for some other things, but we don't need it now. And that one's a distress call, so it's not of any interest. We're only interested in the planet. So what you do, you put your cursor over them. You can see like there's 2 planets there, but so just move it up, and you see these lines, and you keep going until they turn to circles like that. When there's a second circle, it either means you're like dead close to another one, which you can see we are, or you're going to have to zoom again. Now I've set up my zoom. I forgot to mention that on the things, but the left and right mouse buttons, I'll zoom in and zoom out. So I can zoom in now, and here's those 2 planets. This one needs another click. So if it had that extra ring round it, so those funny rocket-shaped things, fingers always point to where the planet is. So just zoom in until you see it. We're not really interested in knowing much. I mean, you could be, but if you want to do this quickly, all you need to do is scan it. Right, so on to the next one. See how easy it is. So there's another one. There's a whole group there. So they're probably up here. Right, I'll just explain something else. Where you got these ones up here, they're the big planets, and they often have smaller ones, these ones, rotating around them. And you can't zoom in on these ones until you've got the big ones out the way. So as you can see, a big one's come now, and what happens is we don't know which one it is, so we've got to find it. There it is. Now it's down here. Right, now when I zoom out, different levels, this one just up there. That one there will be one of these ones down here on the scale. Where is it? There it is. And we've got fingers there. Anywhere where there's a hard circle station, sorry. So I just got to tune in and out on the bottom one. And you're going to need this skill for, later in the game. So you might as well get used to it now. So there's something there. It's always the opposite way to what you tune. So there's 31 planets in the system. So there's another one there somewhere. There it is. Yeah, if you're not sure where it is, just zoom out and zoom back in again. The fingers will show you where they are. So you get the idea of this. It's not that difficult. Just time consuming. Still another one there. Still something else there. Some systems are a lot easier to do than this. You just got 5 or 6 planets on their own, so you don't have to do all the zooming and hunting and everything. Can I set one up here as well? No. How did I miss it? So just using the fingers to point at where they are. So 10 more to go. I think there's still something down there, is there? And it's always a bit harder when they're all clustered together. It's really quick to do with a mouse. If you use your joystick, it takes a lot longer. But You'll get the hang of it after a bit. Still something there. But it's not one of those, and it's not one of those. It's probably a signal source. Right, let's go on and see what else we can find. So we know now know if I'm looking at the tuning, where my cursor is, it's either there or there. So the little ones will be rotating around the big ones. So if I just put it on a big one, I got it straight away. And now I know that the little ones are here because it's the only signal that's left. So you can use a little bit of logic to figure out where they all are. Right, system scan complete. So that's it. Now we're ready to go to Dromi. So press that button on the scroll wheel again to leave that. And now we've got to go to Galaxy. Oh, hang on. My monitor's gone off. Right, so now we got to. We can't fly away yet. Now, if you look to the right hand side of the screen, fuel, we're half empty. I don't think we got enough to get to Dromi, so we need to refuel before we go. So if you look on the left hand side, we need a station. And if you scroll down the list, you'll find, I think it's Deb Settlements. There it is. Double click that. Oops, sorry, have I done it? Yeah. And looking at the mini radar, to the left of our main radar, you'll see that dots behind us. So I just rotate the ship round. Another commander over there. Wonder if he knows to come here. So we just fly there. Hope he's not going to shoot us because we've got no shields. Let's send us back to start. So what you can do at any time, log out and log back in as solo. It's probably best at this stage to do it in solo. But he seems pretty harmless. He's just got on his way. I don't think there's a lot of people around at the moment. Like a week ago when they gave out all the free stuff, there was loads of people here and it was a bit dodgy, but I think it's all right now. We'll see. But we're out of the starter zone now, so he's presumably somebody fairly new and just like getting on his way, unless he's seen one of my previous videos. Right, now, because I haven't got the Super Cruise assist, what you do, you just fly towards the station. When it says slow down, just when it says slow down, that means you're being slowed down. It's not telling you to slow down, so I'll just slow down anyway. But where it says Deb Settlement, you'll see a distance and a timer underneath it. The bottom one where it says 1.3, 1.4, so 2 now. You open up the throttle, full throttle, until that gets to 7 seconds. The moment it goes to 7 seconds, you get the throttle, just pull it back and push it back into the middle of the blue zone on the right of the radar. So 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, pull it back, plant it in the middle, and that way we won't overshoot the station. So just point at the station and go right there. Now if you fly past a planet, like we are on the left hand, it might slow us down, so you see the time going back up again. So you have a choice then, you can open the throttle a bit more, but what will happen, as soon as you get past it, it'll go down rapidly, and then you'll see it's got 5 seconds on it, and then you'll overshoot. So what you can do is just like loop around from the side a little bit if you want. So another commander behind us, wonder what he's up to. So it's going down, it's now in million meters. When it gets to 1 million meter, you can drop out a safe disengage will come up. So you press your frame shift drive again. You should have it set to toggle in a key bindings. It's an option, toggle or not. I'll show you something else in a minute once we get to the station. So single boost towards the station, and then we can ask for docking permission. So it's under contacts. So move to request docking. Once you get to within 7.5 kilometers, we're 5 at the moment, so we can do that. and then just throttle back to 0 and let the docking computer take over. In my other video, I've done other beginners ones. There's a lot more detail in those. It shows you how to find the landing pad at one of these stations if you haven't got a docking computer, and how to land and all that sort of stuff. There's somebody coming in from above. Right, you will have noticed that I've got a dot in the middle of my screen. That's very useful. I have it on all the time. And later on, when we're doing fuel scooping, it's even more useful. And you find that, if I escape, in the options, controls, right at the top, mouse controls, show mouse widget on. So keep that on. It works like a gun sight almost. It's really handy for knowing whether you're, pointing towards something or not. So switch that on. That's my recommendation. Back to game menu, resume. So all we need to do here is refuel. So that's that one. Boom. What I'm going to do now, just to say, because I'm not playing the game, I'm trying to do a tutorial. I'm going to go into solo mode. So exit. Just so that I don't get some daft person that blow me up halfway back and then I have to start all over again. So continue. Sorry, I'm not thinking. So and start again in solo play. That way you won't see any other commanders. So the game is exactly the same. It's just that is nobody going to just decide to blow you up. The game will play according to its rules. So we're ready to go again, but this time we're going to Dromi, which is where our mission is marked. There is actually a marker there, so rather than type it in, you can just click it. Again, this one here. What this one here is for is if you're within a system. So if I opened up the system map and I'm in, when I arrived at the start chamber and I want to go Deb settlement, that would be the one I would use. So that's the one for navigating within a system, and this is the one for navigating from one system to another. So that shows the system map, and that puts a bookmark on it if you're wondering. So we're ready to go, so we can auto launch again. So I'd have liked to have got rid of this auto computer thing. I prefer the other one, but if I'd have sold it, I haven't got enough money to buy the standard docking computer, but we will have when we get to Dromi and sell this astronomical data. So I'm going to take over as soon as I can. So I'll just go full throttle, make sure you don't hit ships that's landing. Boost away. I've still got my 4 pips to engines. That gives you the maximum speed. So when that capacitor charge, we're clear of mass lock, so we can point at the system that we need to go to. Oops. Get your frame shift drive going. So same as before, when you get to the star, turn away from it. Oh, mass locked again. Oh. As I turn back towards the station. Happens very occasionally. Yeah, while we're doing this, I can explain the fuel gauge. So on the right hand side it says fuel 0.32 an hour. That's 0.32 tons an hour. And I think the tons are those segments. I always get confused by these things. So just turn away in a sort of general direction of that dot. So fire off my oops, what have I done? Fire off my discovery scanner. I'll just show you something. I don't know why that changed. Yeah, you need a button for changing cockpit mode. So that's mine. It's in the bindings. Goes from the yellow to the blue. The yellow's for combat and stuff like that, and the blue is the discovery one. Yeah, the fuel gauge. So you've got those segments there. Each jump, you see some before you jump, they go blue and they disappear when you jump. And then above that is a thin yellow line between fuel and those segments. That's your working tank. So that goes down all the time regardless, and every time it gets to 0, it steals another segment from the main tank. So that'd be another ton or whatever. So just firing off the main discovery scanner each jump. Yeah, you can see that we will have used 4 segments coming back, and we only had 7. I think we used 4 to go the other way, so we wouldn't have made it. I think it's once you leave the starter area and you do a transaction other than refueling, you get locked out. Right, so on this side now, we could have used the system map to find Mawson Dock, but because we got a mission there, just scroll down to it, click it, and it's behind us again, as ever. So same thing, watching that timer, 987, blue zone, and then just pointed it. Now, looking at the hologram on the left of the radar of the station, you can just see the slot, and you want to come in that direction. So what I normally do is just loop round a bit. So I'm keeping to that side of it just for now. And likewise, if you can't see the slot at all, it's round the back somewhere, so you want to loop round a bit more. It does save a bit of time. So here we go. Now you mustn't go too close to the planet. There's the planet where the dot is now, because that'll slow you down. So this should be okay like this. We're like fairly near the front. You don't have to be exactly from the front, but the more you are from the front, the quicker and easier it is to get on. And when you're doing the Robigo missions, you know, if you want to make a lot of money, you don't want to waste any time. So all these things count. So here we go. Disengage, single boost to the station. And I usually point just away just in case I get tied up doing something. And again, contacts, request docking. And we could let the docking computer take over. I find it's faster just to fly in. You have the choice. So I'm just going to maintain full throttle. This isn't a very fast ship. So just coming in. And if you come in by yourself, always green lights on the right and come in on the right side like that. So you come in on the green side that way, because any ships coming out will be on the other side, the red side. So as soon as you get inside, now you can go 0 throttle and let the docking computer put you on the pad. That's a very fast, efficient way of doing things. Like when you're doing missions and trading, that time is money. So all these little things count. Whereas if you just use the docking computer outside, you get put in a queue. Right, so we want to refuel and starport services. And there's 2 things we want to do here. First of all, we can hand in that mission. So click on it. There it is there. And then it's going to give us a load of spiel. Hopefully I can talk over it. And the other thing we want to do is go to the Universal Cartographics. And you notice we got 10,000 for that mission and 80,000 for scanning that system. So now we've got 90,000, which is quite handy. So with that newfound money, we want to make our ship a little bit better now. Now, if you'd have come here with 10,000 credits, you wouldn't be able to do that. So that's what this is all about. So now what I'm going to do is go to outfitting. Again, And we're going to buy back that stuff we chucked before and anything else we need for this one and improve what we've got. So that's basically why we needed that money. And I'll explain what all the modules do. That's quite useful for later. So starting with the weapons, we want pulse lasers. And although there's better weapons, um, they're not what we want for the time being. Oops, sorry. We want this one, the gimbaled one. See that symbol there? That's fixed. So you've got to aim those more. And they're also more powerful slightly. They do more damage, but you can't hit so easily. But we only need to tag the enemies, so that one's fine. And in fact, that's the one definitely we want. So buying options, buy. So there's one. Another one. You actually only need one, but we might as well have two. Looks right. I always think it's weird having just one-sided guns on a ship. Like in the training tutorial, it's daft the way they've got it set up. So we've got our weapons back. Utility mounts, there isn't anything here to buy. Not that that's any use. So core internal, now we can upgrade everything. Don't need to change that. Power plant, basically they've got D stuff here. So we'll go up to D. And D is more and lighter. As you go up through the numbers, letters rather, from E to A, you get more of the fundamental characteristic of the thing. So it's power, and A's got a lot more power than an E. But there's other things as well. So D is the lightest, A is the most efficient and most powerful. So A and C weigh the same, but A's got more power than a C. E is the heaviest, B is the strongest, but also heavy. So E is very rarely a reason to use E unless you don't have a choice. But in this case, the best we can get is D. So just all these things, you see what I'm doing. Frame drift drive. Get loads of money. So life support, I don't think we can, is one of them we can't change. Yeah, we got that. That makes it lighter. And what you'll see now is a jump range going up even more now. Not that we need that much more. So, and a power distributor. And the power distributor, what that does, that fills up the capacitors quicker, so you can boost more frequently. So, with our now improved thrusters, slightly improved, and power distributor, we can go faster and boost more frequently, which generally means we can go faster. The descent is lighter. You see the jump range go up a bit again. So now we're up to 12.2 jump range. From when you started, it was about 7 point something, I think it was, the starter Sidewinder. So it's a big improvement. Right. Then we got the internals. So we want our shields back. And I think they've only got a D here, shield generator. E rather. That's the one we had before. But we've got to pay for it this time. But don't worry about paying for stuff. You can sell it and get your money back. But we're going to be making so much money, this is just not worth the time. So there's our advanced docking computer. Can I change it yet? Flight assists. Yeah. I prefer that one. I like to have control over what I'm doing. So cargo rack we're not going to use. So that's it. We're ready to go fighting.